This week's episode of the Because
We Want To
podcast. We sit down and have a conversation with Josh, owner of Hotspot Dinners.
Yep. Local owner, lives here in Richmond Hill. He opened up a location end of last year just over the border in Pembroke, so made it a point to stay in Bryan County, which I thought was a really good point. And one thing he really wanted to get across is that he is so grateful to the Richmond Hill community because that is obviously the primary, portion of his business, but he supports essentially the entire greater Savannah area. So
Right.
they'll deliver. I think he said he's got 4 delivery drivers to deliver. So that's awesome. So there's a focus to deliver these meals. And I haven't had them yet. You have. They're delicious, apparently.
He did say that, I think it was like 80% of his clientele is in Richmond Hill. So, big thanks out to all of us Richmond Hillians.
Well, hopefully we can increase his business with this episode in Richmond Hill and the surrounding area.
Right.
Would be awesome. One thing also that we really wanted to get across that we didn't touch base on the episode was they do sell gift cards. And when he started talking about that, in my mind, I was like, well, you think meal trains or someone just got out of the hospital and you want to help them, but you don't like to cook or don't want to cook. That's something right here with Hotspot Dinners that you could take advantage of that opportunity and still help other people too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's our focus here today, talking to Josh, and then also Patrick. Wasn't there?
You forgot the biggest thing. So he actually had an opportunity to get an interview from WSAV, but he decided to take our interview first and let us get the exclusive first interview.
So we got the exclusive over WSAV.
We did.
Hi, everybody. Just wanted to remind y'all about the bookstore on the hill, where they offer a large selection of used books and models. 90% of all the books are priced at $3.50 or under, and they accept and offer store credit for most gently used books. So come stop by the bookstore on the hill to discover your new favorite book, try to find the always hiding octopus, or just to give Percy a pat on the head.
So, Jim, we're about 10 episodes into the Because
We Want To
podcast, and how do you feel the usage of Anchor.fm's gone for us?
Yeah, I'm glad we found it. It's awesome because we're just getting started, so it's actually free, which is great.
Absolutely.
We can definitely make some money on the podcast, which is a nice touch, but, we're just getting started, so free is awesome.
Yes.
The creation tools are great where you can actually record and edit right from a phone or computer. We've got some higher-end equipment we're using, but the fact that you're able to do all the editing on all the episodes is pretty awesome. And if you can figure it out, I think pretty much anybody can figure it out.
What do you mean by that?
Also, great feature, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. We are now on pretty much every major platform out there, which is great. It's awesome to see listens across all the platforms. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And also like the fact of how easy it is. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Josh, what's on the menu this week?
This coming week is actually our biggest seller. It's the fajita dinner package.
Ooh.
So it's going to be a doozy.
Yeah, we my wife and I, Laura, we've had that one before. That's pretty top notch. I will say so myself. We definitely enjoyed it. And the little the sauce that y'all make, the spicy kind of the sauce with it. That was my favorite part of it. Not gonna lie.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that one's one that sells out really quick. And then I have some disappointed customers when they can't order because we've met our limit. But we try our best to accommodate everybody.
So, what is y'all's limit? Like, how many meals will y'all prepare?
So right now, with the capability of my staff and what I'm comfortable with, we only do 2 days a week. It's Tuesday and Thursday, and so about 60 per day. That's about 120 a week. So we deliver on Tuesday and Thursday, and 60 a day is kind of where I feel good with managing the deliveries and managing the production. So we're looking at about 120 a week.
That's not bad.
And just 2 days, So
Yeah.
It's evolved from 15 out of whack to 30 to 40 to now we're at 60 a day, which is, it can be a lot when you're delivering to Pooler, Savannah, Richmond Hill, Claxton, and you have trying to organize everybody,
So obviously you're slowly growing. You don't want to overdo it. I mean, there's cost control, there's quality control. So you have a plan in place. Like, what's the next step?
Well, quality control is the biggest thing, and the biggest denominator is me. I hate to toot my own horn, but I design the menus and I have my hand in every meal. When it
You do
comes
wash
down
your
to,
hands though, right?
yeah, I
Okay.
don't get them too far in. No, but I'm the guy that I design the flavors, and I have one helper, and he chops onions, he washes dishes. Right now, they're all the meals are being by me. So if I could find someone that I trust enough to maybe take some of that, then that would be you know another edge, another step. But right now, I just can't relinquish that my meals to someone else quite yet. You know.
Well, you're still really early
So
on, so you're still trying to
it's
figure
hard
it
when
out.
I've been in the industry a long time with restaurants and catering and institutional cooking, where I know the turnaround, I know the turnover for culinary staff, and it's kind of scary. So I just know how people are in the industry, and I know what they are and they aren't capable of. So we don't want to grow too big, and then all of a sudden your staff splits on you, and then you're left with 300 orders to fulfill. It's kind of a sketchy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a fine balance there.
I don't want to sound like it's like it's a bad industry, but it can be a quick turnaround with employees and staffing. I mean, every restaurant right now in the community and no one can find staff, to cook. It's a time with COVID and with the stimulus checks and the unemployment. Nobody wants to work in this industry anymore, so it's tough.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see that now. So kind of where do I know in the guest intake you said that you started all this during COVID. What kind of made you think about this? What made you want to do this? Kind of, if you kind of tell us that.
That's an awesome question. So like I said, I've been in restaurants since I was a teenager. I'm 35 now, and I've restaurants and catering and different capacities. And I was actually doing the food for a private school in Pooler. My kids got free tuition there. They're both, one's in pre-K, one was younger. So, childcare can be an expensive thing. So I was getting paid decent to do run the food program for a school in Pooler, privately owned. And when COVID hit, I have a lot of friends in the catering industry, and they lost all their contracts. All my friends who do catering in Savannah and stuff, they went from having parties booked and all the stuff booked up. They lost all the business, and so what they did, a couple guys started serving, kind of what I do. They were offering meals delivered, and they were doing a couple, just trying to find business. And I saw that on Facebook, and I would go, you know what, I could do that. And I talked to my wife, and I said, hey, I didn't lose my job. We still had work. It was a private school. They stayed open. But I said, hey, I'm going to talk to my boss about renting his kitchen after hours and trying to see if I can sell some meals. And, my wife and I both decided it'd be something to pursue. And I talked to the owner of the school, and I rented his kitchen after hours. And I ran the kitchen anyway. I was the only guy that worked there. So I just clocked out, and I stayed there, and I prepped in the industrial kitchen. And we drummed up a couple clients. And, the first week I might have sold 20.
Wow.
And people loved it. People loved it. For one, you didn't have to go to the store during COVID, and everybody was so afraid back then. The fear was ruling, and two, you couldn't find the meats you wanted. You couldn't find ground beef. If you had a plan for dinner, you got to the store, they didn't have what you needed. So it was a necessity from, wow, I can't even find dinner. And also I don't want to bring my kids to the store. So from day one, we were aimed at families, so that family mentality, because, I have two sons and, a wife at home, and everybody was scared back then,
Yeah.
So was the original thought more, hey, let me see if I can make a few extra bucks doing this, or was it, let's test this out and see if this is something we could make viable?
Well, like you said, exactly. In the beginning, it was, hey, I have a job, but I can make a couple bucks extra every week if I do this, or it was never, hey, let's quit our jobs and jump into something like this. So, we were trying to be responsible. Hey, we both have day jobs. I wonder if I could do this on the side and make some extra income. And then as it gradually took off, within the first couple of weeks, I was making more money than I was making at my little job at the school. And then as it grew, I was paying the guy more money to rent his kitchen because he was watching the numbers I was doing. And then, quickly I needed him for his kitchen, and he needed me to continue feeding his students. And so it kind of ballooned into a situation where the new thing overlapped my old job after about a month or two. And that we never ever could have imagined that it will blow up like that. But yeah, it was something that the community really needed without anybody actually knowing.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I know that Laura and I, we've purchased from y'all probably 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and I mean every meal that we've had has been excellent. Like, we absolutely love it. Like the last week or the week before, I saw on Facebook y'all were doing chicken pot pie. I was like, I wonder if Laura's getting that this week. And about 30 minutes later, we we get a knock at the door. I was like, oh, hey. I was wondering if she was going to get that. Sure enough, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Chicken pot pie is outstanding. I love it.
I commented on that.
And
my comment was because I make a pretty mean chicken pot pie, crust from scratch and everything, but it does not look as pretty as the one that you presented.
Yeah, he just does the regular flat crust. He doesn't do the lattice, everything. But so you were saying that was your first meal? What now?
What I did want to mention was a lot of people will say, "Oh, I make that." I'm not, and that's the point. This is comfort food. I'm not doing anything that is far and above what people know. I'm offering very common meals and stuff that people recognize. This is not about shelling out steak and lobster to your house. This is food that families recognize and families make. So, a lot of times someone will go, well, I could do that at my house. And I'm going, of course you can. Yes, you can. But what I offer is, do you want to go to the store? Do you want to buy the groceries? Do you want to go home and spend 2 hours cooking? Or, I offer a convenience of, we deliver it to your door. It's ready to go, So this isn't like, like I said, steak and lobster. It's food that your family recognizes, your kids know what it is, that type of stuff. So that's the whole idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have chicken pot pie, shepherd's pie, pasta dishes. You got the fajitas. I mean, it's just all normal stuff that someone with basic cooking knowledge and kitchen knowledge can do.
Well, yeah,
I mean, it's not like you're doing anything like beef Wellington or lobster bisque or anything like that. That does take a lot of skill, which I'm sure you could do those really well.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's just like, and then also one thing you did say is, like, you didn't mention, hey, I know you could do that, but do you actually want to take the time to do that, or would you rather just relax and pop it in the oven for 35 minutes at 350 and just be done? I mean, that's the
100%.
ease and comfort that you give.
And if you go to the store, we've done it. Go to the store and buy the groceries needed. Literally, I'm only charging a little bit more, and I'm going to deliver it to your house, and it's ready to go. Food's not cheap anymore, and so, literally one of my best sellers is meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Meatloaf sounds mundane, but people love it. Red blessed mashed potatoes, green beans, and a big salad and cornbread. It's a no-brainer. Your kids are going to eat it, and you're going to eat it, and the wife's husband's going to come home and stuff his face, and it's a Tuesday night, and nobody wants to deal with dinner or clean up. And the kids are going to go to bed full, and that's what matters. Get the kids in bed. It's Tuesday night. That's the whole thing.
Yeah,
That's some good cornbread too.
I actually enjoy cooking, but I can say there are days where it's stressful. Where, I mean, I've put a lot on my plate personally, from all different angles. And
Wait, did you just say you put a lot on your plate?
Yes. Yeah, thank you. I didn't even think of that. I guess pun intended. But I do all the cooking in the house too. I enjoy it. We renovated our kitchen so I could have a better kitchen to cook in, and it's been awesome. But there are days where I hit 4:00 and I'm just like, I don't want to cook. Like, let's order pizza. Let's eat some leftovers. So for me, like I said, I enjoy cooking, but there are going to be days where I'm kind of like, man, you know what? I probably want to order from Hotspot and just get some food. So what's the latest I can order to have dinner that day?
Well, it's typically all pre-order. So if you're trying to order that day, we might be sold out. But you're looking at, what happens a lot is we put our menu out on Saturday. You can pre-order for Tuesday or Thursday. And people will, if they skip it on Saturday, if they see it, they go, oh no, they have good intentions. They're going to cook on Thursday. Thursday morning rolls around and they're going, hey, do you have any left? It's like that procrastination. And then they go, oh my God, it's actually the day of. I don't want to cook tonight. I saw this on Saturday and I told myself I was going to buy groceries and I was going to cook. And here we are on the day of, and they go, no, I don't want to. We had a great review this week. This week was a Cajun chicken Alfredo with sausage. This woman, great customer of ours, she posts pictures. She goes, instead of cooking tonight, I took the kids to the pool and we spent an hour and a half at the pool while my husband threw the hot spot dinner in the oven. So they're getting that quality family time on a weeknight, whereas normally she would have been in the kitchen preparing dinner. She took the kids down to the pool while dinner was. That's the kind of stuff we'd love to hear. Family time versus mom or dad in the kitchen up to their elbows and pasta and chicken, and that's what it's really all about is, can you squeeze out more time with your friends and family instead of, hey, I'm in the kitchen for an hour and a half,
Yeah, no, that's an excellent value point, and that's kind of where my head was going to. So I'm glad you kind of understood my thought process. It's like this is the first time we've ever talked, and we get each other. But so for someone like me, like the way I propose the question is, I basically need to look ahead of my calendar. Like I love to cook, but I need to look ahead, like you said. So if it's like Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, and I'm okay, I got 6 meetings that day, I got 4 Zoom calls. And, I want to spend time with the family. Maybe that's the day I need to make sure I've got one of these meals ready. So it's, prepare ahead and make sure it's good to go. So that's something I'm going to have to dig into this and actually probably order a couple things and test you guys out. See if your pot pie is better than mine.
That's awesome. Yeah. Usually a day out can get you a spot on our list. Unless it's a crazy menu. Like I said, fajitas coming up. People are ravenous. They get those fajitas. And then we have so many regular customers that order every single week. And they're very loyal, and we just love them. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Every single week, put me down.
Right.
We always double check, but
yeah. So Jim, I actually thought of a better idea. We can just get his pot pie, and then you can make your pot pie, and I'll be the unbiased taste tester to see who's the best.
We can have a little cook-off. I'm down for that.
All right, yeah. So and I will, I will sacrifice myself to be the taste tester.
It's in the name of science.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why every time him and I go out to the bar together, it's market research. I mean, we're sacrificing our livers for market research.
Fiorua does have some good sours.
This is valuable research.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so by the nature of we watch what people like. So every other week I do a different pasta dish. And then it goes back to meat, potatoes, and then a pasta. So if it's baked ziti, and then I'll do a meatloaf, and then I'll go to a Alfredo dish, and then I'll do shepherd's pie, and then I'll go to chicken parm. Pasta sells so much. It's so filling. It's crowd friendly. It's very hearty. So I could do pasta every week if I wanted to, but we try to slip in other things. It's just the power of carbs, man.
Right.
People love the pasta.
Now, that actually brings me to a question I was going to ask later. Talking about carbs specifically, do you ever do any orders that are allergy friendly or certain diet friendly, like gluten free, or any type of customization like that? Or is that something in the plans?
So we always beg people to inform us of any allergy that's going on. If you have anybody in your eating party who has issues with shellfish or gluten or peanuts or anything going on, we need to know, and then we can discuss if it's the right option. So we're right now, unfortunately, we're looking at pleasing the masses. So I don't have anything, like I don't offer, if it's a pasta dish, we're not offering gluten-free pasta option. And so someone like we are going to be offer healthy, health conscious meals. And I said, well, we could, but I don't think that the masses would buy them. I hate to say it. They want that comfort food,
Give me them carbs.
No, yeah. And it's a funny thing. if I offered quinoa and cauliflower rice every night with spinach, some moms might buy it, but then I wouldn't sell 60 per day.
Right.
No.
And I think that large, our meals are healthier than fried chicken. Our meals are healthier than burger joints. A chicken pot pie from us that's made in our kitchen with a big garden salad and an order of cornbread is better than Burger King any night of the week, better than pizza, better than Popeye's fried chicken for your health reasons. But at the end of the day, we're not serving spaghetti squash and quinoa. No, we're not. So it's a better alternative to fried food, but we're not quite in that health food niche, And so going back to what you're saying about allergies, we always, ask that anybody brings up any allergy concerns to us immediately before they order. So that can be discussed. But yeah, and as far as, changing people, alterations and modifications, we'll work with anybody if they don't like, one woman goes, hey, I want your chicken and sausage Alfredo baked. We don't do pork. I said, put the pork on the side because I put the sausage on the side for you this week. Easy modification. We don't mind doing some things like that, So one of our kids, he loves sausage. So, hey, go ahead and put it in a bag, attached to the meal on the side. No problem. Mm-hmm. If you want to get into funny things, hey, it's chicken parm this week. Can I get eggplant parm? I'm going to say, well, probably not. I'm probably not going to bring an eggplant, but yeah, we try to do our best to accommodate.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, you've got a target market, and you're right. You do have to please the masses, but you're developing your niche, and at some point that may grow into something else. But you've got to kind of stay not essentially hyper focused, but as close to hyper focus as possible to continue growing this, especially if you're trying to make it your main thing, or you are.
We would never get anything done if we offered 17 different options for every meal, So it is what it is. It's unapologetically comfort food, and that's what our people look for. And I'm the first person to say if someone's, hey, do you have a healthier option? Do you have something that's plant-based? I've even mentioned this place in Savannah. They do a dinner delivery service. They're all plant-based. They're 100% no animal fats. They're called Morsel, and they're down on Whitaker Street in Savannah, and I have no problem giving them a little plug to our customers who are looking for a healthier option. 100% people have to make money, and I go small businesses. So I mentioned Morsel to anybody who's looking for a healthy alternative. But if you want, to fill the kids up with a hearty meal, I'm your guy.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. You hit the nail on the head. When you said that you want to hit to the masses with comfort food. I mean, this is, the South, we like all that stuff and, the fatty stuff and well, not necessarily fatty, but,
I'm sorry. You're saying we as if I'm from the South.
I'm just talking Southers in general, but that good calorie, that good high calorie, type stuff. I mean, heck, we're 20, 30 miles south of two of Paula Deen's restaurants here. And now, that quinoa and cauliflower rice, some people might get it, but that wouldn't be as big a hit as, maybe somewhere out west, like in California and stuff like that, where there is more people who do the plant-based and who are, more vegan friendly out there and who looking for that option. But I mean, yeah, it's just not as much of a popular thing here.
So what that equates to is if I offered that one week, I would lose 80% of my business. People would go, we're going to skip this one. And that week, I'm just out on sales. I wouldn't sell it. It just wouldn't sell. My reputation, like you said, I have one meal that's red rice, gumbo. Red rice and gumbo. Someone goes, oh, there's dairy. Yeah, you're right. I do use butter in my roux for my gumbo. It's just the way it's supposed to be,
Right, absolutely.
And, that's what people recognize us as.
So you mentioned earlier that you were renting out space when you were working at the private school. So now, are you still, where are you operating? I mean, are you doing this all in your home kitchen now?
No, that's 100% illegal. This is a funny story. I don't want to name any names, but the guy that that owned the school, he was letting me rent the kitchen. It's a industrial kitchen. They were certified. He could do anything he wanted with his permits for that school. and I was selling dinners, and he basically saw the money, he saw dollar signs, and he wanted me to relinquish all of the customers in the business to him, and he wanted me to work for him. And basically, he didn't want that in the beginning, but once he saw what I was charging, and then he would go in the walk-in cooler and count how many dinners we were making, and he did the math. He goes, hey, you're going to work for me now, and I'm going to pay you hourly a certain X amount of dollars an hour, and I'm going to take over. And I said, well, this is where we part ways. And,
Good for you.
I wasn't willing to give him the business that my wife and I had built up, making personal relationships with customers, mainly in Richmond Hill, and hand it over to the guys. So we had to take a hiatus, and I had to go out, look for a place, brick and mortar store, and set my own operation, which, we live in Richmond Hill. We wanted to, most of our customers are in Richmond Hill. We wanted to be here in Richmond Hill. I did some research and looked around, and it's very expensive to get a restaurant up and running in Richmond Hill. I did the next best thing was I went to Pembroke, right downtown Pembroke, still Bryan County. Pembroke is still Bryan County, but we went one town over, and I found a place for lease, and it was a hair salon before I got it, and I gutted the building and knocked down walls and, started from the ground up. I brought in the health inspector, the Bryan County health inspector, Mr. Michael May, here in town in Richmond Hill. I took him to the location before I rented it, and we did a walkthrough, and I told him my plan. I showed him my menus. I showed him what I did, and we started at the front of the door to the back door. And I said, I want to do this. And he told me, well, you need to do X, Y, Z to make this place viable for, food service. And so I did it, over the course of a month and a half, gutted the building, brought in, all of that. And we had our final walkthroughs, and they said, you're good to go. So now I have my own space. As of the end of last year, September, October, we opened up over there. So I had to take a brief hiatus, but I got out from under the guy I was renting from, because he had the control. It was his building, so, you would never jump out on your own and say, I'm going to open a business and we're going to sell family dinners. I'm going to lease, but I already had a clientele in place before I did that,
Right.
Which was a great feeling, knowing people were waiting on me. When I started up, I had clients waiting for the food. So that was a reassuring feeling that when I do open back up, I have people who are going to be interested in my product. And sure enough, they were happy to have us back. And we never looked back since we got in our place right on Pembroke. It's right on Main Street in Pembroke.
That's awesome. And the fact that when he brought that conversation to you and you were just like, nope, I'm good. We're done. Stuff like that happens all the time. And so many times people are just scared to go out on their own, and they'll be like, well, yeah, okay, and they'll take it. And then you took the chance and you trusted yourself. And I mean, it's still a risk one way or the other, no matter what you do, but you kind of already tested the market. So you knew if, you went on your own that you were going to have a good chance of succeeding.
Yeah. Definitely hats off to you for just, kind of being like, nah, dude, we're good. I got this. I mean, of course you want to take over a successful business and pay the guy who's making all the money just hourly, and then you take all of it. I mean, but
I can't blame the guy for doing it, because I would have tried the same thing.
I mean, it's a good idea that he tried, but at the same time,
like I said, I don't want to name any names. I don't want to have anybody throw anybody on the bus, but he owns a couple other daycares and surrounding towns. And what he wanted me to do was, he wanted me to run the daycare, still feed the kids there, do this for him after hours. And then he wanted me to go to the other daycares and get them set up at those facilities where they could do family dinners as well. So he wanted me to train the staff at the other daycare centers to have 3 hotspot dinners operating in surrounding counties. So he saw dollar signs big time. He said, man, you're going to set up my other facilities to do exactly what you're doing as well. And I go, well, that sounds like a great idea for somebody else, dude. And so, and so that was it. I thought it was pretty funny. He had this whole plan,
I mean, good for him for seeing it and wanting it, but good for you for branching out on your own. And who knows, maybe he'll make it work someday, but the chances are that he won't, because he doesn't have the key ingredient, which is you. Which one's you missed it? That was a great pun.
Key ingredient, you, and a little slice of love.
Yep. But hey, Like I said, the biggest common denominator with the meal is me, and we had a big argument over that. He's like, "Oh, this food's not coming out of your pores." And I said, "Well, I care about the food. It's my name on it. It's my name on the line. My reputation. Who knows what the future holds for me and for Richmond Hill and for what this might become. So I want people to think good things when they think of Josh Kovacic and my product.
And I'm not gonna lie, I also love the fact that you said that your building's on Main Street and it's right off of East Bacon Street. I mean, that's just the perfect place for you to be, right off of East Bacon. I love it.
Yeah.
So your location, is that a place that offers pickup too, or are you guys delivery only right now?
We are 99% delivery. So on Tuesday and Thursday, that's when the meals go out. In the morning, if the locals want to come pick up, they can come by in the morning as we're loading up for the day, and they can pick up for $5 cheaper. So there's no delivery fee if they want to swing in and get their meal. That's one benefit of being out there for any of our local clientele. But yeah, we're mainly delivery, and that's one of the things we said from the very beginning is, hey, we come to you with a full dinner ready to go to your doorstep. So that's one of the big drawing concepts is you don't have to leave your house.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I really do enjoy is the big old thing of salad that you do give, and the different varieties of the different salads. I mean, I just saw the one you had the other day was the speaking of bacon, the bacon Caesar, and we really enjoy y'all's dressings too. Now, are those dressings homemade, house-made, or?
I'd say it's about 50-50. So half of them I make, and some we do buy. And the stuff we do buy pre-made, I buy top-notch.
Now the ranch.
The ones I make.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the ranch. So unfortunately, when we started off buying a ranch, and that's what people loved. I wasn't going to switch it up and make a homemade version. Like, well, people love this one, so now we got to continue selling this one. Some of the other ones I do make in house, though. So it's about 50-50.
Well, I mean, good for you for paying attention to the clientele and what they like. I mean, there's some good products on the shelves.
Absolutely.
So go with it.
Yeah.
But it comes down to making everything else and assembling everything else. You got to pick your battles. Like, what am I gonna, what can I, am I gonna spend X amount of hours, crafting every little thing, or can we take a shortcut on a ranch dressing if we need to,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like ranch personally, so I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference.
Oh, the ranch they give is outstanding.
I have a very excellent house-made balsamic vinaigrette you probably really enjoy.
Now you're speaking my language. That is exactly.
enjoy
I'm
some
an olive oil and vinegar kind of guy. Like, I just want simple. Like that's what I grew up on. That's what I like. I grew up, Italian for the most part in the beginning, and then Irish when I switched over to my dad's house, and it was olive oil and vinegar on both sides, just different kinds of vinegar.
That takes it back to the simplest form. You're kind of deconstructing, these crazy concoctions. Oil and vinegar, it's excellent. You can't beat it. Simple. I did want to mention, the different salads. The salads, I always pair the salad with the meal. If it's more of a pasta meal, yeah, like I'll say, okay, we're going to do a Caesar. If it's a really heavy meal, I'll try to do something lighter, a little contrast. Like this week coming up, the fajita dinner package, I do a Southwest salad with tortilla strips, corn, black beans, pico de gallo. The salad makes sense to pair with the meal,
Yeah, absolutely. That salad is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. And people who say, oh, you have a healthier option. I said, well, every meal comes with a giant decadent salad, So for your daughter who might be a vegetarian, she can have a huge bowl of awesome salad with the meal,
Yeah,
there you go. That's a good idea. So you do offer vegetarian. We've covered that now. We were 20 minutes. We were in
Hey, you get a big bowl of salad.
Oh man, that's awesome.
There you go. Yeah.
So
there's your plant-based meal.
When you were talking about pairing the salad to the dinner, I had a great business opportunity idea for you. Maybe you should link up with Erica over at Queen of the Hill Deliveries, and you guys can figure out dinner pairings with wine and beer, and she can deliver the wine and the beer, and you make the food.
Hey, that whole can of worms with alcohol sales and licensing. Good for you. I'm not about to go down that road.
That's fair.
I think it's like permits there's only so many permits for the county. So more power to you if you're out there and you have an alcohol permit. We were talking about maybe offering up gallons of sweet tea or something. But yeah, we're far from 6 packs of beer with our dinner package.
Well, if you ever do get with Eric on that, I will, again, sacrifice myself to be the taster and make sure that the beer and or wine pairings go well with the meal.
Yeah, this Pilsner is not good for chicken pot pie. Give me another one.
Actually, now I think this might actually be better with a white wine. Do we have any of that? Let me try.
Yeah.
So, desserts. Do you have any desserts? Do you do desserts?
We do not, but we for a long time, and I don't want to say too much, but we are beginning some R&D, some research and development on some pies, and it might be a go, it might not. We're gonna try. This goes back to everything that we sell has to be able to be reheated in your oven at your house. So when someone says, "Why don't you do this meal?" and I go, "Well, that's mainly fried food. I mean, you can't cool it down and deliver it to someone's house refrigerated and expect that to come back in their oven the way that we intended to." So there's some things that just do not translate to being reheated in someone's oven because we deliver a cold product. Now with desserts, we have the same thing. The idea right now that I'm playing with is having a pie that we make in-house at my kitchen that is frozen. And in the morning when they're pulled out of the freezer, packed into coolers to go out on delivery, by the time they're ready to be eaten that night, they're fork tender. I'm talking about Oreo cream pie. I'm talking about peanut butter pie, banana pudding pie, things like that would translate well to being delivered to your house. So those are still ideas we're kicking around and we're looking at, in the future. We want to offer a dessert, but right now we're still in the research and development stage,
Yeah, no, and that's a great point that you're going back to quality too, and you hit a couple points that really hit home that I hadn't even thought of based from the conversation we were having earlier, where you're delivering it cold and it needs to be reheated. So when they reheat it, you want that quality to still be as close to as possible as it was when you first cooked it.
Yeah, so you're looking at cooking the pasta really al dente. You're looking at adding more moisture to the meal than you maybe would if you were going to eat it right then. So if the meal is hot and then cold and then delivered to someone's house and then they have to bake it in their oven, you're already going to lose moisture. You're already going to lose things like water content. The pasta is going to expand again. So you're playing with things like, can I keep this meal moist on the second go round? A lot of thought goes into the meal, whereas if you're making a meal ready to eat at your house, sometimes leftovers aren't as good, sometimes they're great. So we're looking at, things that really translate to being baked a second time around,
Yeah. I'm actually really excited that y'all are contemplating doing some R&D on the desserts because
I think Patrick's about to offer to help you with that R&D.
Yeah, absolutely. Taste tester, anything like that. I will taste anything and everything. Now, so you did mention you're thinking about doing the pie thing. Have you thought about just maybe offering something as simple as just like a banana pudding, since you don't really have to. You can just make it and essentially be done.
Yeah, the simpler the better. I don't want to have like a pie that they have to bake in their oven, and then while they're eating their dinner, and then the cherry pie's in the oven, and then, oh crap, it's burnt. I want to deliver something ready to eat. Something like a pudding, or maintain standards. The charge price. It can't be. It can't just be something very simple. I want to maintain. I want people to be excited to order it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to do some research and see what sticks. And if it's good enough for our standards, then yeah, I want to offer it. It's going to be one of those things where if you're on my website, you can add it to your cart, or you can not say, oh, do I want the peanut butter pie this week? I can stick it in the cart, or hey, no, I'm going to skip the peanut butter pie. It'll be an add-on to your dinner package.
So I want to take a turn right now in the conversation. We can obviously come back to the business too, but I want to take a few minutes, like I told you, kind of give the community some insight into you as well. So from some of the notes that I have, you had mentioned you were born and raised in Florida. You moved to Savannah, I think sometime in high school, and then it looks like you moved away and came back, and you and I have something in common, and Patrick already made the comment. So I'm born and raised in Massachusetts, and you clearly lived in Massachusetts based on my notes here.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So you were born and raised in Florida. What part of Florida?
Southwest Florida, a little town called Arcadia. Not much there except orange trees and cattle, And my dad was in the military, and he was stationed at, Hunter, right there in Savannah. So when I went to live with my dad in high school, I learned about Savannah, and, Savannah has its charms. Everyone knows that Savannah is charming. And so, growing up my later teen years and 20s in Savannah, my wife is from Massachusetts, and she moved down here with a friend, and we ended up meeting, and the rest is history. So I met her, and we were inseparable, and we found out we were having our first son, and we decided to move back to Massachusetts, where she's from, to have our son near her family. And we ended up having him and then getting pregnant again right away. So we had 2 boys up in Massachusetts. So I think for total, we were up in Massachusetts for 5 years. And you know what it's like up there, harsh winters, and the people are different. And, so we did that for a while, and we bought a house up there. And I learned about the seasons, just a Florida boy up in Massachusetts and New England, learning about the seasons and shoveling snow. And, you get up in the morning and you can't go to work because you have to shovel your driveway first. I'm like, what in the world is this? It's a whole different thing. Different climate, different people. There are good and bad to both regions. I'm not gonna hate either way, but we decided that we wanted to raise our boys in the South, and we thought of, Georgia. Let's go back to Georgia. We love Savannah, but the school system in Savannah and Chatham County is not the best. Mm-hmm. So we did a little bit of research, and Richmond Hill was just, glowing, the school system. And so when we were going to move back, we looked at houses in Richmond Hill, and just everything, all the research we did, was just a glowing positive thing. And so we bought a house here in Richmond Hill, and our Jackson did his first year pre-K this year at the primary school. Love the teachers, love the school system. I think we really made the right move. We did it based on school system, but we couldn't have been happier with the people in the community. When we got here and we saw what was going on, couldn't have been happier with our choice.
Yeah, similar story for Nicole and I, my wife, with Micah. It was the school system. We wanted to be in Savannah. We were actually in Florida. We were in Ocala. That's where I met my wife after I moved from Massachusetts. And same concept. It was, okay, we want to be in the Savannah area, but we've got to find the right community and, the right school system, because we were still looking in Savannah and thinking private school or, obviously the school system here. And my son just finished pre-K. And he's at the First Christian, but he's going to primary next year. So we're excited to test that out and see how he does. But I have to ask, where in Massachusetts?
Little town called Oxford, near Webster.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then that's where her parents live. And then we bought a house in a little town called Warren, which is near Springfield. Mm-hmm. Springfield's in the middle of the state. So I loved it, because I had, over there on the coast.
So you live next to the Simpsons?
A different Springfield.
Okay.
That's not officially the Springfield.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, Boston is an amazing city for concerts. I love live music, mm-hmm. rock bands, and man, I saw so many good bands come through.
Did you ever see Boston in Boston?
Did not see Boston in Boston.
I saw Chicago in Boston.
But yeah. And you go to the outskirts, you hop on the train, take the T all the way into the city, right next to Fenway. There's great venues. That was a really great, thing to have nearby. It was the live music scene, the big city. And then we lived in a rural town, it's just everyday life, but you had the city right there, which is always cool.
for people listening, we
Where
are.
were you living?
See, I'm from Boston, and I grew up on North Shore. So we're from what people don't know about Massachusetts is that's two different kinds of Massachusetts. Each side has its own like Western Massachusetts, Central and Western Massachusetts is more like Connecticut and New York. Well, rural New York, not like city New York. And Boston is the eastern part of Massachusetts, and the Cape is a whole different world. And the North Shore is it's funny because it's not the biggest state, but it's different worlds. Like it just people are different. And you mentioned earlier people in up there are different. And Patrick made that comment earlier because I actually miss it sometimes. And I have family in New Hampshire, and we had looked at New Hampshire before here as far as moving because that's a good place to raise a family too. But you're right, the shovel in the driveway and the waking up with the aches and then, dealing with all that stuff for like 4, 5, 6 months, it's just not worth it. So, I mean, I would have bought a snowblower if my wife let us move there, but I'm happy with Richmond Hill. I just want to get rid of these damn gnats.
But Jim, I can absolutely agree with you on that. As far as like the state dynamics, the one time I've been to Massachusetts driving through it, we came in from the west side from Vermont and drove to Boston, and absolutely the west side of Massachusetts is all like hills and the woods and stuff like that. Beware of you see the elk crossing signs and moose crossing signs, not deer, but elk and moose crossing. And I'm like, holy crap, I don't even know what I would do if I saw a moose. But then you get to the city of Boston, and that's where you picture Boston and everything, and it's just the hustle and bustle is just completely different. But hey, Jim, you're talking about getting rid of the gnats. Don't forget the deer flies. It is deer fly season now. Get out your blue buckets, people.
Now, hey, something that I was really excited about was, talking to people who have an idea, and they're afraid to make the leap or they're afraid to try it. We went into this with almost zero extra money, and what we found was that there was a market for our product. I didn't have a bunch of capital. I didn't have, a bunch of money laying around saying I'm going to throw it out of business and hopefully it sticks. So anybody that is, on the fence and they have a great business platform, and they just don't have any, they don't have any, they're not brave enough to do it. I'd say we came from next to nothing, just making paycheck to paycheck. But we had this idea, so that's just the whole concept of us starting from nowhere. And here we are with the business. Like my wife, she doesn't work. She works from home. She works for our business, and we do this full time,
Yeah. So, one thing that I did want to ask, because, Jim kind of made me think about this. I don't know why. But how far do you kind of plan out or schedule your meals? Like, if I were to go on Hotspot today, your website today, would I be able to see what you'll be, doing 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now? Like,
so here's the thing. I have 14 different dinner packages, and I literally just do them in a loop.
Okay.
And unless I'm say next week I'm planning on doing a meal and the market for that protein or whatever just goes crazy, which has never really happened, then I'm probably going to skip it. If I'm doing a pork loin dinner next week and the price of pork quadruples, I might skip that one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I stick to a looping 14 dinners. I do all 14 and start over. So if anybody wanted to see what next week's going to be, they could just go back 13 and then, it's just I'm on a constant loop. So there's no guessing, and
Right.
I do 14. So if you missed out on chicken pot pie last week, well, in 13 weeks it's going to be back, and that's just the way I work. There's no rhyme. There's no crazy. It's not me scheming or trying to. It's literally on a rotation.
So basically, essentially just wait 3.5 months, and so it's like a 3.5 month.
Unfortunately, if you miss out on the meal you wanted, you got to wait about 14 weeks for it to come back.
Cool.
But early on, someone said, and when you take everything to heart in the early stages of your business, someone goes, "Oh, they don't have very many options. I think I had 7 menus," and I go, "Okay, watch this. We're going to get a bunch," and so that's why I have varying degrees of If 1 week's chicken, I'm not doing chicken the next week. The next week's going to be pork. And if it's pork, then I'm going to go to beef. So that's why I keep my regular customers engaged, the ones that order every week. I wouldn't serve a similar dinner the very next week because they just have something like that. If I'm doing baked ziti, I'm not going to turn around and do pasta and red sauce again. I'm going to give them something completely different to keep my customers engaged.
So this is a two-part question. What's the dish that gets the most rave reviews? And then what's the dish, if there was one, that you had to just take off the menu because you realized it just wasn't getting traction or people didn't like it?
Great question. Like I said in the beginning of our thing here, the fajitas is the most requested because we do, it's chicken and steak and Spanish rice and a big Southwest salad. And it's a killer. It's basically taco night from hell at your house. It's awesome. And then close second, believe it or not, the meatloaf. I mean, like I said, everyone thinks of meatloaf as this mundane thing. The meatloaf is like talked about beyond belief. So I mean, we're grateful, knock on wood. And then possibly the one that doesn't sell as much is the but it has Savannah red rice, gumbo, chicken, sausage, peppers, onions, and shrimp is optional. You can get shrimp on that one, or you can get it without the shrimp. But that one has a very devout following. People who buy that one, I might not sell as many of those, but the people who do buy it, they go crazy. I get phone calls, I get texts, I get reviews. The gumbo, the etouffee with the Savannah red rice, people just leave these crazy reviews. So I can never take it off because the people who do buy it just love it. But that one probably doesn't sell as much as a fajita night. But yeah, the people who do buy it, man, they go crazy for it.
So I've got a follow up on this one too. So you clearly have, you've explained that you do research development. You actually take the time to cook it, test it, see if it can be reheated. So what's one dish that you made that you just wanted to work so bad and you're like, I can't sell this because it won't come out the right way?
Well, I haven't had any total losses, but I have had certain dishes evolve. I have tried a few different ones. My family, they're the real guinea pigs. So
Sorry,
if I
Patrick.
try something and I put,
Can you adopt me?
yeah, come on over. We're trying food tonight. No, I put it in front of my kids, and my kids are 4 and 5, and I watch their faces as they eat. And I'm thinking about the other households in Richmond Hill when these moms and dads are buying these meals and putting them in front of their kids. I'm going, if their kids aren't going to eat it, they're not going to buy it. So I'm testing the food on my wife, my kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, some just evolve over time.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have a good, testers there. I mean, you said you watch your kids' faces. I mean, if, your kids don't like it, I mean, there's a good chance that, other kids their similar ages, aren't going to like it as well. So, I mean,
well, kids don't know how to lie, so.
Right.
It's kind of...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Dad, this. Oh, yeah, and they're giving it to the dog. No.
Why is our dog getting fat?
Yeah. Like I said, I have a very good helper. Tristan, he's my sous chef, if you will, but he's chopping vegetables. He's doing things for me. He's washing dishes. He'll have ideas. He'll have what if we did this Indian curry dish with different stuff. And I'm going, man, Indian curry sounds awesome, but a mom or a dad in Richmond Hill that has 4 kids aged 4 to 9, they're not going to buy curry dish for their family. 9 out of 10 of them, it's just going to get overlooked as a family meal. So that's why you stick to things that that families are going to recognize, and that
Yeah, so you go back to the whole meat and potato thing, not try to cutesy it up so much.
Yeah, it has to be good, but at the same time, he's turning their nose up at it, or the customer's family is going, I'm going to skip this one, so.
Mm-hmm.
So what does pricing look like? Obviously, people are going to go on the website. We're going to tag it so everybody can go look at it. But what does pricing look like?
Excellent question. So pricing has been with tax and delivery. So delivery being $5, and with tax and everything, you've been looking at $48.60 delivered to your door. And $48.60, if it feeds 5 to 7 people, I forget what that breaks down to per person. But
If
for a meal
that's
fully
about.
prepared, delivered to your door. Um, yeah, so it's just, I think it's really fair, and it's great that you bring up pricing. This week, we're going to go up a tiny bit in pricing. The price of fuel, the price of just payment processing fees are getting hiked up across the board. Food prices, fuel prices, processing people's payments. I'm getting hikes on my end. Unfortunately, with the heavy heart, we're going to raise it a few bucks. So with tax and delivery, you're looking at $54, which is about $5 higher than it was. And so some people might say, hey, that's the $5 I'm not willing to pay, and but I think the vast majority of our customers, they recognize the service as a great value, and $5, it's worth it. Like I said, we don't raise it just to raise it. We're looking at costs on our end, but yeah, we're going the new price point with tax and delivery is going to be $54. A meal that feeds 5 to 7 people, delivered to your door, ready to go. We think it's a great value. I mean, have you been to Publix lately? And you go to Publix to get 3 things, you're looking at $50, $60. That's just, so we have to make our money, but yeah, I'm not out trying to, to make a crazy margin here, but yeah, $54, 5 to 7 people delivered to your door. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, 54 for 7 people. Well, that's still under $8 a person. So I mean, that's not bad at all. I mean, you're gonna spend more than that per person going out and getting if you were to just go like to your meat and three type place, get similar food offering, you're gonna spend more than that per person. So I mean, $8, under $8, not bad at all.
And you bring up a good point too with credit card processing fees and gas going up. I mean, we're just the gas situation. I don't know a ton about that. The credit card processing, people that don't completely understand, like I get it, having to deal with that myself as well. And it's like it's very interesting how, not to get down this tangent, but the banking industry is frustrating a little bit at this point, because we're essentially in a point where people don't want to use cash anymore, or I mean, we're getting to that point anyways, but don't want to touch it, don't want to handle it because of the whole situation. So they're using the card more, and places are requiring card or starting to actually take card. And you would think the banking industry would go, oh, okay, we're making more on this already, so we'll just keep it where it's at. But no, they're like, well, we're making more and more and more, so we're going to charge more and more and more. And it's like, come on, like, can you cut somebody a break here?
Well, believe it or not, my number one form of payment is Venmo. And Venmo, I was just recently forced to get to upgrade to a certain business account because of the volume that I do on Venmo. And they get a percentage on every transaction, and they also get 10 cents on every transaction. And it adds up to be a lot of money out of pocket that the seller will pay. And that was the kind of the final straw was, wow, I'm being forced to, because people love it. No, people love the convenience of just swipe the phone and they send payment to me. And then I deliver it. We're not even handling cards at that point. They're just Venmoing me the money. And so Venmo is making sure they get their cut. So that was between the food prices going up. Venmo was kind of, our biggest, money handling service, and they're raising their fees. So, and something else, you're talking about your costs. I deal with Cisco Foods primarily for my foods, and they deliver to my restaurant. And, but I was talking to my representative through Cisco. My Cisco rep told me that all of his vendors, all of his restaurants he delivers to, they're all raising their prices right now. I told him with a heavy heart, I'm going, hey man, I got to raise my price this week. I don't feel good about it, but I think I need to. He goes, don't feel bad. He goes, everybody we have right now is raising their prices. All of his restaurants are hiking up, so it was kind of eye opening to see that I wasn't the only one feeling it,
Yeah, no, and I think that's part of the whole process too, especially in the food industry or any industry. I mean, over time, your prices are going to have to go up to align with essentially what's going on, inflation, costs, things like that. And like you mentioned earlier too, like pork, for example. I mean, there have been a couple of weeks where I've passed on getting bacon. Sorry, Nicole, but it is what it is. Just because normally it costs me $5 or $6 for that pack of bacon, and for whatever reason this week it cost me, it was $8 or $9, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but you just have to make those little key decisions here and there just to stay within a certain budget and things like that. So it's nice to hear that from a business perspective, your consumers may not always love it, but it sounds like you have a client base that understands it, that if that situation were to arise well, that cost is going to have to be passed on to them anyways. You can't pay 3-4 times the cost of a pound because there's a shortage and then still make money. You have to make that shift, that key decision. So the fact that you're looking at that from a business perspective just proves that this will continue to scale and continue to grow and be successful, because you have that mindset as well. You're not just focused on, does this taste good?
I appreciate that. At the end of the day, this is a convenience, having dinner delivered to your door, ready to go. I often call our platform micro catering being it's, family based. I'm not catering a wedding, but I'm using a lot of the same practices that I did when I was doing catering for weddings and photo shoots and movies and TVs, working for other caterer companies. A lot of the same practices go into my meals, and attention to the detail and stuff like that. So you're paying for a premium service, so people get it, it's not lost on people that they're paying for a convenience factor here, they don't have to leave the house, and it's not pizza,
Well, I mean, don't knock pizza.
Especially around here.
Pizza's killer, and it serves its purpose, but I was almost a pizza place. I was like, I could do. There was no pizza in Pembroke, there's no pizza out there. There's like one place, and I go, I could do pizza, and I go, no, we have our followers, we have our loyal customers.
Hey, you could, as you scale, just tossing out there a couple of years from now, you might get a really good deal in a pizza oven. Maybe you could just kind of have it on the side and do a few pizzas here and there.
Just make sure it's one of the
or just for me, my family.
Definitely let me know when that's happening, because I'm definitely coming over for that.
So we've got your website here as hotspotdinners.com, so that's where people can find you. We'll also link your Facebook page and your Instagram page.
And if you want us to, we would also go ahead and link your Gmail, the Hotspot Gmail, if you want us to.
Perfect.
So we can link all those different ways that people can get a hold of you, come see your product, do some ordering, ask you questions and everything like that.
Yeah, the big thing to hit is that we release the new menu every Saturday morning, and that's for pre-order. Okay. And so, if you were to go on there right now, I think it just says that this week's menu is sold out. But tomorrow morning we'll have the new menu on there every Saturday morning. If you like what you see, you can place an order for Tuesday or Thursday. We're always available for questions. If you have any kind of questions about our product or our service, you can reach out to us through email or messenger, or there's a phone number on there. You can call us directly. It's a platform that is not common. So when I used restaurant experience to build this business, I had never worked for a place like this, so I had to make up policies as I went. So oftentimes our customers have questions. Oh, how do you do this? And how do you? So it's not the most obvious thing sometimes. So we love answering questions and talking to our customers. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Well, I definitely can say I speak for Patrick here when we say we're looking forward to next week's menu, because I'm going to set a reminder to hop on there and take a peek, because I want to see what you got, and I might have to order a couple things.
Yes, and let me know when you two guys are doing the pot pie taste test or any other pie taste test or any other taste test in general. I mean, I will sacrifice myself.
Awesome. Well,
is there anything else that you wanted to share out there?
I think we covered a lot. I think this has been great.
Yeah, no, we definitely appreciate the time.
Yes,
This is awesome.
Freaking hungry now.
I know, right? You haven't eaten breakfast yet. So everybody check out Hotspot Dinners, local to Bryan County. Like you said, you got the spot up in Pembroke. I think all business owners know rent in Richmond Hill is tough.
Yes.
But we do our best, right? We do what we can. So either way, you've got delivery here in town. So check it out again, Hotspot Dinners. You got Josh here. He taste tests everything, high levels of research and development, focused on quality and good food, and clearly customer service based on the way he answered some of our questions. So everybody, thanks for listening.
All right, guys, we're going to take a minute here to talk about one of our sponsors, Laura Skelly Photography. She's a family photographer located here in Richmond Hill. She specializes in natural light lifestyle photography. She loves turning clients into family and friends, and here at my house, we can definitely speak to that. She offers one of the biggest discounts to military and first responders at 20%. She also wants to help build up local businesses. She'll collaborate with them. She'll provide photographs for their business. And if you check out at lauraskellyphotography.com today and enter the promo code BECAUSE, you'll get 10% off.
Oh, thank you.
Hey everybody, we wanted to take a minute just to thank everybody for the support we've received so far. Just thinking back to episode 1, recording on some cheap free headsets where we sounded like absolute crap, to now recording on some pretty good equipment thanks to a solid sponsorship, and Patrick sounding way better and me sounding not like absolute crap.
Less nasally is, I think, what the people call it.
Yes,
We definitely had a lot of fun doing this and have some big plans in the future of what we want to do. And we're a little uncomfortable asking people to sponsor us, but if
we have to,
we have to. Yes, we do. But there are a couple easy ways to, help us out through sponsorships. There is a way you can just go to our Anchor website at anchor.fm/because-we-want-to. Or if you're more of a social media type person, there are ways on that as well.
Yeah, so one of the easiest ways to support us is to simply like us on your podcast platform, wherever you're listening to us, be it Spotify, Apple, Google, directly on the Anchor website. But also just sharing us on your social media. That would be amazing to just have everybody just sharing us on there. And that way, as we release our episodes, getting them out there in the field, that'd be great. We've got some great content lined up. We've got some local small businesses. Obviously, that's what we've focused on so far for the most part. We're also working on a history of Richmond Hill because this area has a lot of interesting history. So we're not sure if that's going to be a 1-episode or a 2-episode discussion. We'll see how that goes, how much we record. We don't want to cut that short. But like we said in the beginning, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for the feedback. And however you feel appropriate to support us, we would greatly appreciate it because we want to bring some additional content. We're talking about doing some video. We're talking about doing some live stream.
Yeah, maybe, what he said, video, live stream, if we don't lose too many followers doing the live stream or video, because, we definitely have faces for radio. But we'll update you further on that, and we do appreciate all the support we've gotten so far. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yay!